First scripture reading today is from the Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verses 8 through 13. It's on page 623 in your Pew Bible. The voice of my beloved. Look, he comes leaping upon the mountains, bounding over the hills. My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing in at the windows, looking through the lattice. My beloved speaks and says to me, "Arise, my love, my fair one, and come away. For now the winter is past, the rain is over and gone. The flowers appear on the earth, the time of singing has come. And the voice of the turtle dove is heard in our land. The fig tree puts forth its figs, and the vines are in blossom, and they give forth fragrance. Arise, my love, my fair one, and come away."
I actually took an entire class on Song of Solomon in seminary, and it was fascinating, but it's not really for little ears. So if you ever want to talk about it sometime, be my guest and come into my office. But it's a great, interesting book, kind of centering around love and our kind of life with that weird emotion that we sometimes experience. And now from James. This is a letter from James, thought to be the brother of Jesus, that he was writing just again kind of as encouragement and guidance for new Christians. So this is James chapter 1, verses 17 through 27. Every good gift, every perfect gift comes from above. These gifts come down from the Father, the creator of the heavenly lights, in whose character there is no change at all. He chose to give us birth by his true word, and here's the result. We are like the first crop from the harvest of everything he created. And know this, my dear brothers and sisters, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to grow angry. This is because an angry person doesn't produce God's righteousness. Therefore, with humility, set aside all moral filth and the growth of wickedness, and welcome the word planted deep inside you, the very word that is able to save you. You must be doers of the word and not only hearers who mislead themselves. Those who hear but don't do the word are like those who look at their faces in a mirror. They look at themselves and then walk away and immediately forget what they are like. But there are those who study the perfect law, the law of freedom, and continue to do it. They don't listen and then forget, but they put into practice in their lives. They will be blessed in whatever they do. If those who claim devotion to God don't control what they say, they mislead themselves, their devotion is worthless. A true devotion, the kind that is pure and faultless before God the Father, is this: to care for orphans and widows in their difficulties, and to keep the world from contaminating us. And this is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So I feel a lot of times in our life, we don't give ourselves enough credit. We feel on some level that we might not be talented enough, skilled enough, or maybe gifted enough, or worthy enough for much of anything in life. Maybe we hear the word no or do not more often than we really should. Or perhaps we've been rejected time after time after time again. So for one reason or another, our confidence in ourselves has waned, and our love and appreciation for who we are and what we are in life has drastically declined. And maybe we had a job interview that didn't really go as planned, and we were unable to land our dream job or the job that we really wanted. Maybe we find ourselves at a certain stage in life and think, how did I get here? Or what am I doing here? And perhaps we began a business venture or a project that we've desperately wanted to work on for so many years, and we finally got to it and completed that project or started that business, and then it didn't really work out. We only see it fall flat, or it didn't get the love and the support that it needed, and so it was deemed a failure. It's possible that some of us are not in those types of positions, but I bet many of us are, or we have been, or are currently, or will be in the near or distant future. So I will say that the world seems rife with negativity, right? Every corner we turn, there's something negative, something bad, or some kind of thing that brings other people down. And even there's a lot of anger, too, in the world. So this is a cycle we have to somehow break. We have to break the negativity. We have to break the anger that just seems to run rampant in this world. We have to find a way for more positivity and more optimism to shine through the clouds. We have to find a way to tell and to remind people that they are worthy and they are loved. And we have to sometimes find a way to convince ourselves of that truth as well, so that we begin to believe more in ourselves. And now statistics kind of get thrown around all the time from one research group or one scientist or this country or this place or that, or the internet. Everything's the truth on the internet, right? But there's one I stumbled upon that even if half of it were true, I feel it's kind of a remarkable statistic. It was published by a website called My Little Villagers, a website that's focused on bringing attention and support and resources to people that have children or have themselves, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, ADHD. So the statistic indicated that it is estimated a child with ADHD receives 20,000 more negative comments than their peers by the age of 12. And that's 20,000 more. That's not just in general. That's on top of what a usual child might receive in the form of negative comments. Even if it was half of that, 10,000, that's still 10,000 way too many that a child should hear. So meaning these negative comments really add up. And based upon my amazing arithmetic skills, I say that in jest a lot of times, doing the math and crunching the numbers, if you heard this amount of negative comments, 20,000, from the day you were born till the age of 12, you would hear 4 negative comments a day. From the day that you were born until you turn 12 years old. And that to me is too much negativity. I get the concept that people need to be told no. And of course, children have to have boundaries and we have to tell them no from time to time. But an average of 4 negative comments a day is simply for a child that is diagnosed with ADHD. How can that be helpful? And certainly in the long run, it will impact the child greatly. So what we need to focus on is building people up, not focused on tearing them down. Now, sure, it's easy to jump to criticism or negative aspects of how someone is or how they act differently than us or how they do things differently than my perfect way would do it, right? But we have to focus on the positive in life. And the negative comments stick a lot stronger than the positive ones do. So we need to find a way to drown all of those out. So as a result, children and people in general are adversely affected by those negative comments and hearing them day in and day out. In fact, a quote by one Alvin Price, he's a prominent author on children discipline. He proclaimed that parents need to fill a child's bucket of self-esteem so high that the rest of the world can't poke enough holes in it to drain it. Yet I'm not sure that's always being done. Nor do I feel that's the sole responsibility of just the parent to do that. But that's where we as a church family have to step in. Not only for the children, but for our peers and our elders as well too, right? Everyone deserves these positive comments. To have this bucket overflowing with positivity. So you see, children are not the only ones that hear the word no, or get rejected, or hear these negative comments. Even as adults, we hear criticism. We hear rejection. We see, we feel, we can sense negativity in life. So much so that I feel we're forced to build kind of a callousness to that. And forced to make these different methods that combat this negativity and these criticisms that we hear from time to time, to give the appearance that they don't affect us, or they don't really shake us as human beings. So here's a perfect example of what I mean. Can we show the picture on the slide real quick? So here's a little goldfish with a shark fin, right? I bet most people on the surface, they see a shark fin. They see something that's menacing, intimidating, perhaps scary, or willing to bite back if you try to bite it, right? But I think below that shark fin, we're all just a meek, little, innocent goldfish. I think we're more afraid and more soft than we let on and realize. And these negative comments really impact us and affect us so much so that we're trembling inside. We show other people, yeah, we're this big, strong shark. Don't mess with me. But at the end of the day, we go home and sulk and just think about that negativity day in and day out. So I guess all of us are soft on the inside somewhere. Which means that all this negativity, all the judgmental comments eventually bring us down to the point that we might believe we are the shark. This thing that we've been perceived to be, we now have become. Whereas we still feel deep down that we're this little goldfish. So this is maybe part and parcel why the suicide rate is so high, I feel, in life. Now, I'm not sure if you've heard, but a well-known prominent pastor recently died by suicide on August 25th, 2018. His name was Andrew Stocklin, and he was 30 years old. And a head pastor of Inland Hills Church in Chino, California. So it was deemed as a relatively successful church by what most outside standards would say. It was this huge mega church, thousands of members, a budget bigger than anyone could ever really dream of. He had a lovely wife and 3 sons, and yet at the age of 30, he took his own life. That's sobering for me as a pastor myself. I know what he must have gone through, and he was dealing with some other demons outside of just that. But people can seem to have it together on the outside. They could have the dream job, the dream family, and the dream life, yet on the inside, they're that scared little goldfish battling a number of uncontrollable demons. So we may think they're this impenetrable shark. So it's okay if I say something negative. It's okay if I give this harsh judgment or this harsh criticism. They'll be able to take it. But we don't know what someone's dealing with on the inside. So this particular instance goes beyond negativity, as he was dealing with depression and anxiety. But certainly hearing and dealing with all that negativity never helps in anyone's situation. So we have to be careful about how we say things. We have to be quick to listen and slow to speak. So this is the message we receive from James. The one that we might not hear from others, or even tell ourselves frequently enough, as much as we should in life. So his message is countercultural to what the world really tells us. It begins with the message that every good gift, every perfect gift comes from above. These gifts come down from the Father, the creator of heavenly lights, in whose character there is no change at all. He chose to give us birth by his true word, and here is the result. We are like the first crop from the harvest of everything created. So you know what jumps out to me in hearing that verse? We are like the first crop of everything that was created. So to me, this speaks volumes of how God views us. See, traditionally, people were asked to give the first fruits or the first part of their crops. It's where the tithing comes from. Give the first 10% of what you own as a sacrifice to God. So these are seen as the best, the most valuable, and the most precious of crops. Therefore, people, meaning us as humans, if we're referred to as the first crops from the harvest of everything created, that means we're the pinnacle of God's creation. That means we are important. It means we are loved and we are worthy and we are unique. And we are worth every single ounce of God's adoration and appreciation for us in life. So to be quite blunt and to put it simply, we are simply heavenly. You say, why does that matter? You ask. Well, you make all these good points, Pastor Chris, but why is that important to us? How does that help build myself and build my heart and build my soul to work and to live in this harsh world? Well, if God certainly feels we are the most important and best of all God's creation, then why can't we believe that ourselves too? Is our own self-confidence or is our own self-esteem too low? Have we made mistakes in life we feel we can't recover from? Have we heard too many negative comments about who we are or who we should be, that we've lost sight that we are a child of God, and that God loves us and we should love ourselves? You see, not only do we need to hear yes from others often, we also need to say that to ourselves. We need to remind ourselves daily that we are beautiful, that we are worthy, that we are important. We need to look at ourselves in a mirror and appreciate who we are or who we have become, no matter what that might look like in life. And so whoever you are, whatever it is, the work that you do in life, know that you're important and know that your work matters. In fact, I want you to repeat this after me. Say it with me now, okay? Say, I am worthy. I am important. I am loved. Oh, good. 80% of you did that. I think we'll try it again so we can try to get 100% of people believing in this. Let's say, I am worthy. I am important. I am loved. Excellent. Good job. Now you can stop repeating me. That'll be just weird if you keep going. Well, why is it important that we say this? It's important that we say it because then we'll believe it. And if we begin to believe it, then we'll live like that we say. And if we live the life that we know we're important, we're worthy, and we're loved, what a beautiful world that will look like, right? So maybe this is something you say to yourself each and every day you get up in the morning. You go and brush your teeth, or you get your hair ready, or you do your makeup like I do in the morning in the mirror, and say, I am worthy, I am beautiful, and I am loved. See, even after learning that, and learning to respect and love ourselves immensely, James says, that's not enough. That's important, yes, but we need to carry that over to others too. We must love and appreciate ourselves, and in doing so, see others as worthy also. We should be quick to listen and slow to grow angry, which involves and entails other people. So this means lessen the negativity. And be quick to listen to others and be slow to respond, and be sure to snuff out that anger in which you might respond or feel bubbling up inside of you. We shouldn't be overly critical of ourselves or other people. Yes, we can improve and kind of seek to grow as humans, but that shouldn't compromise our love for ourselves and appreciation for who we are and those that might seem or appear different from us. So ultimately, James kind of sums up how we should live today and what we should focus on when we leave these doors and go out into the real world, right? He says, true devotion, the kind that is pure and faultless before God the Father, is this: to care for orphans and widows in their difficulties and to keep the world from contaminating us. So to me, there's two little important pieces of information from just this verse. The first, we have to devote ourselves to God in a way that we exude kindness and purity to the best of our imperfect human abilities. Then in doing so, we will care for the orphans and the widows who are specifically named here, which also kind of implies the people on the margins in life, mainly people that often get a bad rap during the contemporary times and the time of Jesus, right? So widows and orphans during the time of Jesus really were looked down upon. They were really on the far edge of society. And not as much today, maybe a little bit by some people, but not nearly as much as they were in Jesus' time. But we have those type of people too. The people that we wrongly classify or give a bad rap all the time due to their circumstances or situations or what we feel their choices were in life. And so the homeless, the prostitutes, the drug addicts, or those battling depression or any other type of mental illness also get a bad rap. Secondly, could you imagine a world in which everyone loves themselves to the fullest? What would that look like? I'd imagine it'd be beautiful, right? As long as people weren't overly confident. You want people to love themselves and be content with that, right? But if you're content loving yourself, you're not going to want to drag someone else down to the muck and the mire in which you might find yourself in life. You're not going to heap negativity on them for the sake of feeling that you're in the same boat as someone else. No, you begin to love and appreciate yourself and for who you are. So if such a world were to exist, imagine all the negativity that would be stamped out. Imagine all the people focused on building each other up and saying, oh, you did such a great job with that today. Not thinking, oh, I could have done better. Here's what you need to do instead. Saying, I'm confident enough in myself that I'm cool with who I am, and I just need to build this person up as well. We would wake up each morning with self-esteem so strong that no one could ever poke a hole in our self-esteem bucket. It would never drain out. I would imagine this is a place that mirrors heaven. A place that is beautiful, loving, joyful, uplifting, positive, and simply heaven. Amen.